Councilmember McClymans.
Hello,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Well, we got 1 minute.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, good evening and welcome to our Public Housing Authority Commission meeting. Commissioners, I'd like to call this to order and then roll call, please, clerk.
Chairman Hartke,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Dearman,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner McClymans,
Here.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rowe,
Here.
Commissioner Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. Commissioners, is there any unscheduled public appearance for our Public Housing Authority meeting tonight? Seeing none. Commissioners, we've got 3 items on the consent agenda. I did want to make a comment on a couple of these that really address some great needs in our downtown. First is item number 2. I had the honor of chairing the countywide homeless initiative for Maricopa for several years, the Continuum of Care to End Homelessness. And one of the things that HUD kept requesting and asking us every year was to have a greater portfolio of TBRA or tenant-based rental assistance to our community mix. This is a program that takes those who are experiencing homelessness off the streets and out of homeless shelters, and it puts them into a place and wraps around service with them to help get them the services and the help that they need to continue to not be homeless. And it's a great program, and I support it. I want to thank our staff for bringing this forward to us. And secondly, I think several of you on item number 3 have seen the work that our Housing and Redevelopment Division has done in terms of a self-reliancy action plan in which they have, again, worked with people in our public housing units to give them the skills necessary to be successful. And it's been a great program as well. So again, I want to applaud our staff for continuing and furthering these 2 programs. Council, any comments? Otherwise, a motion would be in, commissioners, any council comments? Otherwise, a motion will be in order.
Mayor? Yeah,
Commissioner Orlando.
I'd like the staff to talk a little bit about the Housing and Redevelopment Division Family Sufficient Action Plan, and to share a little bit about some of the successes you alluded to earlier, but it'll be more specific on what those successes are and how it's measured.
Okay. Do we have someone here able to talk on that? Amy Jacobson?
Amy's coming.
Good evening, Commission member. To answer your question, Commission member Orlando, the average length of stay for both the programs for Housing Choice Voucher and our public housing is about 4 to 4.5 years. And about 46 graduates in the last 5 years have graduated from the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. And half those families have purchased their own home through a first-time homebuyer program. So we've had great success with our Family Self-Sufficiency Program, And really more impressively, the current HCV average increase in household earnings for the Housing Choice Voucher is about $26,000. So our families are increasing their average income earnings currently at that rate. And then for public housing, it's a little less. Their increased household earnings is about $15,000 through this program. So again, it's a 5-year program with a 2-year extension, so up to a 7-year program. And really the goal is to increase their household income as well as provide additional services, whether that be financial literacy counseling classes, home ownership counseling, job training, education, and so forth.
So thank you. The self-sufficiency program, then, how many people we have potentially, we could have a pool of individuals that could be involved with this program? How many do we have?
So Commission Member Orlando, we currently have 120 slots available for the family self-sufficiency, 60 for each program.
Okay. So you do this over a period of how many years?
So, Commission Member Orlando, the program is technically up to 7 years, and it's a voluntary program. So we do have a current wait list for families that would like to be on either the HCV or the public housing program, but it is an up to a 7-year program.
Great. Thank you very much. This is very good metrics. I know we talked a little bit about this early in the year, so this is outstanding. There are programs out there. We're trying to get folks to be self-sufficient and work towards it. Sometimes we hear the negative stories about there. Well, there's no programs out there that actually improve the lots of lives, but this one does actually work, and it's been around for a while too. So I commend you for all the work you and the staff are doing to move this program along.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if that's okay, I'll give I'll do a recommendation to approve the Public Housing Authority Commission meetings dated Monday, August 10th, 2020, items 1, 2 through 3.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Orlando, a second by Commissioner Lopez. Please poll the commission.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Dearman,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Commissioner McClymans,
Yes.
Commissioner Wong,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando,
Yes.
Chairman Harkey.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. That concludes our Public Housing Authority Commission. Welcome. Next on our agenda tonight is a special meeting of the Chandler City Council. Please call the council to order.
Mayor Harkey,
Here.
Vice Mayor Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember McClymans,
Here.
Councilmember Wong,
Yeah.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. Council, tonight this is a special council meeting with the sole purpose to introduce ordinance number 4933, which is to form a citizen bond exploratory committee and subcommittees to review and identify the needs of the city of Chandler and make recommendations to City Council. We will be having a meeting on August 20th here. Council is invited, as well as each of the commissioners that will be serving. I do want to thank council for the suggestions and the names that you forwarded. We're able to get names from each of you that are on this list. We also received names from our boards and commissions, and then a couple at large that had reached out to the city. So with that, we have 49 names on this particular list that will form our bond exploratory committee, as well as the 7 subcommittees serving underneath that. So council, what is your pleasure for tonight with this one action item? Vice Mayor.
Yes, I would approve a move for approval of our Monday, August 10th special meeting to establish the Citizen Bond Exploratory Committee and subcommittees to review identify the needed of the city of Chandler to make recommendations to the city council.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Second by Councilmember Orlando. Any additional comments? All right, we need to voice this. Okay, please poll the council.
Vice Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart,
Yes.
Councilmember McClymans,
Yes.
Councilmember Wong,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Orlando, Mayor Harkey.
Yes.
Please.
All right, thank you, council. That concludes our special city council meeting. Last but not least, get to bang the gavel tonight. We have our regular study session, and that we're calling to order. And this will be started with some special public appearances, a proclamation of drowning impact awareness, and I would like to invite Councilmember Orlando. Would you please join me up front? And Jeff West, would you please join us? I have not figured out how to all right, I think we're on. I have not figured out how to read with the mask and glasses on without fogging up. So with your permission, I'll take this off and read this. Whereas the city of Chandler is committed to improving the safety and security of all living in and visiting our community and dedicated to creating a safe swimming facility, aquatic program that provides healthy places to recreate and learn lifelong skills that contribute to the quality of life for all citizens. And whereas 10 people drowned every day in the United States, where drowning remains the top cause of injury and death for children and teens in Arizona, yet drowning is 100% preventable. And whereas the Chandler Aquatics, Chandler Fire Department, and Chandler Police understand the essential role that water safety education plays in preventing drowning and recreational water-related injuries, and whereas during the month of August, the City of Chandler, in collaboration with community organizations and private citizens, will be engaging communities throughout Arizona in a coordinated and comprehensive response. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim the month of August 2020 as Drowning Impact Awareness Month. Applause is appropriate.
Yeah, I can't go without saying anything. I just want to thank everybody for the recognition of this, and I believe that the Drowning Impact Awareness Month is very important. We start in April or May, and even this year it was a little more difficult to get the message out with kids not being in school, as that is our target audience, as well as the parents. And the partnership with Aquatics, and this year Chandler Police joined us in getting the message out, which we couldn't have reached as many without everyone's help. And so very important message to get out. The impact of drowning is very far reaching, whether it's a fatal or non-fatal, it doesn't matter. And so thank you for the proclamation for the Drowning Impact Awareness Month, and thank you all for the support.
Let's take a picture. Council, there's been a few items that have been called in for either comment or questions tonight, and I will start that off with number 5. This has to do with an IGA to develop preliminary design concepts for the Wall Street pedestrian improvement project. And the city is continuing its work in making downtown Chandler a vibrant and walkable destination. And in that spirit, the city applied for and was awarded nearly $67,000 grant from MAG, Maricopa Association of Governments, to produce and design plans of Wall Street, expanding the southern part of our downtown into a pedestrian-friendly amenity, complete with benches, lighting, walking path, and signage. And we will see construction of this project in a future CIP. So with this item, I want to commend our staff for always looking and finding grants that will help beautify our city and make these projects a little more palatable on our taxpayers. So I want to thank staff for that. Secondly, I called in number 7, 8, and 13 on a very similar vein, not with a question, but again, just to highlight a number of transportation projects that are coming before us. So our agenda has a number of items that enhance our city's transportation system and infrastructure and exemplify our commitment to improve mobility in Chandler. So I want to recognize our staff for their work to advance the construction of the much needed widening of Alma School Road near Loop 202. Not only did they find a way to advance the project by nearly 10 years at council's direction, but they also found nearly $4 million in grant funds to support the project. When council adopted the transportation master plan earlier this year, the expectation was that staff also would work to complete the arterial network into the southern part of the city. So our staff is also working hard to execute that vision that was also laid forth by this council and previous councils. And they've secured another grant agreement in the amount that lowers Chandler taxpayer cost by nearly $7.5 million. So between these two grants, Chandler taxpayers will be saving almost $11.5 million. So I do want to recognize our transportation team, those who are here and those who are not, for their efforts in securing additional CARES Act money that will also support Chandler Transit Services. This resource will maintain transit access to our citizens while reducing Chandler's cost by nearly 42%, or an additional $4.1 million over the next year. So I just want to commend our staff that work very hard to find these grants that will help stretch our city dollars and make these things work for us. Item number 9 is called in by Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe it's Ms. Lang. Okay, so I understand the state's been collecting sales tax for us for 5 or 6 years now. I get that, and I understand the way we were done by a population or percentage wise. But I guess my question is more fundamental than that: is how do we hold accountability for cost increased, and how do we know the accountability for collections and actually if businesses are still online? And so, I mean, they're at the state, we're here at the local level. Can you help me, guide me through this?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, the state did begin collecting on our behalf back in January of 2017. And we have been charged an administrative fee it actually started in 15-16 as they prepared for this endeavor. And it's really been a process of nurturing a partnership. There's various subcommittees that work on issues that are identified where perhaps taxes are posted to the wrong community and how to correct that. Collections is a big part of it. We used to have a very robust collection process at the state level. They have very, very few collectors that work on behalf of the entire state. And so that's really been identified as an area of not contention, but an opportunity, I think, to improve on the city's point of view. And so right now, there's a process in place of allowing cities to have our employees actually go to the state and work within the state system to help with our collections in our jurisdiction. The current IGA does not currently allow for that. So it's been verbally extended and allowed, but they're currently working on changes as we continue to really improve our partnership. And it's been a long few years, but I will tell you that the state has come a long way. Cities have come a long way in really learning the process and how everything is working. And I think the corrections when there are mistakes are happening much more timely. But there is certainly a desire to help cities be successful in making sure that there's accurate tax collection. So they're willing to work with us on collections. Audit is already a change that has taken place that we're able to audit taxpayers within our jurisdiction. So I think as time goes on, the IGA will continue to be improved. Our relationship will continue to be improved. But there's certainly a process in place that helps us really get to the accuracy of the tax collections that come to our city.
Well, that's good. It's reassuring. I know it was a tough, dynamic change to have local community, but then turn around and have the state collect it all on our behalf and distribute it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the cost is, again, have our costs gone down? Because obviously populations are increasing through the valley. So has the cost gone down? And then how do we utilize, if it's getting out of control, the cost? Something like that. That's my more concern. How do we check that to make sure, because we're checking revenue all the time and how we, do our business at the city level, and we control our costs to some extent. We have we have process improvement, that type of activity. So are we doing the same thing at the state?
Yeah, through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, the costs have increased since we started paying in 2015-16. There was an additional one-time payment at the time to help with their system enhancements, but our base charge was $513,000. Today, we're paying $672,479. And what's interesting is it's fluctuated anywhere between 4.7 and 4.5% of the total bill. And it's based on our population to the total population is how they're given our percentage of 4.5. But the costs that they're putting towards this effort have increased over time. So our percentage hasn't changed that much, but the cost has. And unfortunately, we don't have control over that.
Right.
So we get our bill every year, and we look at it, and we continue to monitor, of course, the processes throughout the year. But really, the invoice comes to us, and there's not a lot of ability to change that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. And I guess like anything else, we got to keep an eye on that. The important thing is collection, I think, in our terms, and who has that license, that type of activity. And it looks like you guys have a working group to cover those type of particular activities, right?
Through the Mayor, Councilmember Orlando, we do. We have numerous working groups that are continually trying to improve the processes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, this is when I first came on, this was one of my hot button issues that actually got me pretty passionate at first. Hence why I wound up getting placed on the Municipal Tax Code Commission. I think I got voluntold for that one, but actually it's been working out very well because it does help keep the state, as a group as the cities, we get a little bit of, I won't say, but at least hopefully a voice up to the state as an edict. Again, that was passed by the state to the cities that the state will now be collecting our tax revenue versus us doing it ourselves. With that, you did mention, as one of the cause of costs continue to go up, that they were supposed to do some infrastructure updates, and that got postponed year after year. Are those on a roadmap now, or are those still? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, have there been just talks about that infrastructure? Because we paid for that, started 3 years ago, but yet unknown whether they're actually going to spend that money on the infrastructure upgrades.
Through the Mayor, Vice Mayor Lopez, let's see. There has been
We can get answer offline, but yeah.
some I would call them more like mini upgrades to help accommodate taking on so many cities' tax collections. There's been a lot of work in their current system called TAS, and it is a very old system. But the thought of completely replacing that with a much more robust system, a newer model, has not yet happened. I'm not sure if there's a roadmap on that yet, or where that's even in the plan. But I will tell you, they'll continue to work on the current system. Quite frequently, we hear about new upgrades and new things that they're adding to help solve problems that we've seen. But unfortunately, I don't know of a date.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Vice Mayor Lopez, because I think you're poking at what I was kind of wondering in my question. And thank you for Councilmember Orlando for bringing it up. It sounds like we're paying more. We're getting a little bit less service. They're not doing the things that they promised. Are you recommending, we don't have a choice. Can we stop doing this and go the other direction? So cities that ran their tax collections well, like we did, can we revert back to the old form, or is that something we have to take an act of the legislature to do?
Yeah, through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, unfortunately, no, we can't opt out of this. This is in Arizona revised statute. It is written that they will collect on our city's behalf, whether you were previously what they called a program city or a non-program city, which we were non-program and we were able to collect. But that will not reverse unless there is an act of legislature.
One follow-up question, Mayor. Thank you. So is the process to get that reverse for us to sort of use our intergov department to sort of lobby for something like that? And maybe as a council, we could make a motion to do that or move forward with something like that?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, I think it's going to be an enormous undertaking, but it would probably start there, and you'd have to get really a group of cities and the league involved, and it would be a very big conversation.
Well, if it's costing our taxpayer money, it's probably the right thing to do. Well, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Any additional questions on this item? All right. Councilmember Orlando, item number 16.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is still Ms. Lang. So, so in this, there was no costing this. I understand the costing goes, it's a stair-step approach. Depends who works on the particular aspect of what our needs are, correct? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, that is correct. There's a different rate depending on the level of professional position within the Gus Rosenfeld Bond Council organization.
And we do go out for RFP or recompete on this. See, we've had this for 28 years, this particular company, which they're doing a great job. But how do we know that these are competitive rates? I guess my question is.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, you're right. We've been with Gus Rosenfeld as our bond counsel for 28 years. We are recommending extension of this agreement that was created in 2015. We did direct select that agreement. I think before my time, there was an RFP, but I will tell you, in this case, it's a specialized service. They know our city, they know our processes, and it's been a relationship that's worked well for us. When I did it in 2015, I did survey my partners in other cities. There's some big firms that we all know of in the Valley that do this service for municipalities. And just to get an idea of what the fees were in other contracts. And they are very competitive with their partners across the Valley. So we did decide to move forward with the direct selection. It was approved by council in 2015 with these extensions built in.
Okay. So is there one more extension to this contract?
This is the second of 2 allowable extensions.
Okay,
So
got
we
it.
would have to create a new agreement after 2 more years.
Okay.
And
Thank
they
you.
are honoring the 2015 rate schedule as well.
Oh, good. That's good news. Great. So were they higher then? No, just kidding. Were they overpriced then?
No.
Just kidding. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, no additional questions. I called in item number 19, some comments. This has to do with the East Mini Park, little park development at the corner of Erie and Hamilton. Last summer, we met with residents in the neighborhood surrounding the East Mini Park to seek input on proposed improvements. I believe that was our Director Bass's first event, perhaps, after he arrived. And on Thursday, we're going to be awarding the construction, if we say yes, that would add new playground equipment, area lighting, perimeter fencing, benches, and more. And renovations are anticipated to be completed early next year. We had a large group of students that showed up, perhaps 50 that showed up and had their input in that park. And I believe that some of the things they had requested will have been moved to Gazelle Meadows Park, which will also show up in a future CIP. So we'll be able to do some good things here for the neighborhood, as well as meet some of their needs for example, a full basketball court coming up at a future. So I do want to thank all of our community who participated in the early design of this. Your participation plays an important role in ensuring that the ideas and issues and concerns of our citizens are heard. Councilmember Orlando, I believe you had a question with this item.
Thank you for the introduction, Mayor. It's good. I did have it answered earlier today. I saw on here that one of the funds was from the Veterans Memorial. And I took a deep breath because I said, wait a minute, what are they doing taking money out of Veterans Memorial to pay for this park? And you kind of explained that that's just a holding ground for any grants and donations that come into the city. And that's correct, Dawn, right? Right.
Sorry, through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, that is correct. It is more like a miscellaneous grant account, and I believe the name of that account really just needs to be corrected.
Oh, that's okay. And I like the Veterans Memorial account. Right? That's good. Keep filling that account up, but let's get memorial built. But anyway, so that came from a grant. So $200-something thousand of this came from a grant, which is really good to see, though. So that's you answered my question earlier. So thank you. Do you have any timelines on the Veterans Memorial while I have you up here?
Sure. Through the mayor to Councilmember Orlando. Yes, we are currently finalizing our staff report to bring to you to start the design process for phase 2 of that. We hope to have that to you at the September meeting.
Oh, that's great. Great news. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Any additional questions on this item? Next item is item number 32, Councilmember Orlando.
Yeah, Mayor, just want to know what they're doing here. They split the parcel, which is fine. They're building a couple buildings out there, which is great. But I guess what's the next phase of this thing? What do they plan on doing in that area, the contractor?
Mayor, Councilmember Orlando, this final plat, it's a replat of a little portion of Chandler Corporate Center. This is the phase 2 piece of it. And it's a small part of a much larger business park that's zoning stretches back about 35 years. It's been under development. So currently you see the building that's coming up out of the ground today. It's a 120,000 square foot office building. And economic development is actually working with a single tenant to take the entire building for that. This piece, this plat cleans up some easements, cleans up some right-of-way issues, and also kind of creates that extra lot off to the west. It's land use and it's planned for additional office and some service retail for that business park. We really anticipate that's what's going to finish off that area, but there's no plans currently underway for that remaining small parcel to the west.
How many acres is that left?
How many acres is left?
Yeah,
I
with the
want to say it's
second
about eight at the western side.
So they're looking at potentially some commercial there? I mean, some retail?
Yeah, some service retail for the business park.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's encourage that, obviously. That's a good use for that, particularly with that whole area plan being that type of a business park environment. So, good.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kevin. Any additional comments on this? The last item called in was also by me. It has to do with resolution number 33, resolution 5399. My theme tonight is thanking staff for saving our taxpayers' dollars. This is a similar one in which working with Maricopa County, this on consent is an IGA with Maricopa County Human Services Department to extend their current support in providing hotel rooms for persons experiencing homelessness who are vulnerable to COVID-19 so they can be sheltered in place. The Chandler Community Navigators identified vulnerable persons, placed them in hotels, and provide daily meals with support services. This IGA, which we're currently undergoing with the county, will extend this through December of 2020, and it will add 4 more rooms, totaling 10 available rooms available for us to take vulnerable members of our homeless population, get them out of a community setting to where, particularly if they're more vulnerable for COVID-19, it'll move them to a hotel, and then hopefully the goal will be for these individuals then to go from the hotels to a safe permanent housing solution, of which the city of Chandler is supporting additional households through AZ Cares funding. So once again, I want to thank Neighborhood Services team for creative partnerships to find solutions to help our at-risk individuals and families, especially during this pandemic. Council, any comments on this or any final ones before we close this study session? All right. On Thursday, we have an action item and a briefing, and we will look forward to seeing you all there. And with that, that concludes our study session.